On today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors by Steelers Talk, we're going to be talking about Tyler Boyd signing with the Tennessee Titans, why the Steelers didn't pick him up, and what move could be on the horizon for Omar when it comes to the wide receiver position. Then also, Xavien Howard, cornerback, former All-Pro, has been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers by a writer from Bleacher Report. I'll go into that report later in today's show. And then also, Dan Moore Jr., now that you've drafted Troy Fautano and Broderick Jones in the first rounds of the last two NFL drafts, does that mean Dan Moore Jr. could be traded to the Washington Commanders specifically? I'll break down the latest rumors surrounding DMJ to finish out today's show. But before we get into today's slate of news and rumors surrounding the black and gold, make sure you click that subscribe button if you haven't already and join our family. We have daily Steelers videos for you guys to enjoy for free right here on the channel. We also have breaking news coverage, so if Omar pulls off a huge trade for a big-name wide receiver, we're going to be going live right here on the channel. And then no matter what, if they make a big move, if they cut somebody, they sign someone, whatever the case may be, we're going to have breaking news coverage for you guys right here on the channel. Then also tomorrow, it is the Steelers Talk live show starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jeremy Chuggs will be joining me once again this week on our live show. So if you want to see me and Chuggs chop it up and talk some Steelers football with us, go ahead, click that subscribe button right now and join us tomorrow at 5 p.m. Okay, now let's talk about Tyler Boyd signing with the Tennessee Titans today. Now, of course, we've talked a lot about Boyd potentially signing with his hometown Pittsburgh Steelers this year. He's a free agent. You know, the Steelers needed wide receiver help, all these different things. I mean, the connection makes sense, especially because Boyd has said himself that he wants to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers at some point during his NFL career. And when word came out today that he signed for just a one-year contract worth up to $4.5 million, there's a lot of Steelers fans that are like, hey, man, what the heck? We could have had Tyler Boyd for $4.5 million. Why didn't the Steelers pull that trigger? Well, I think what this shows us here is that the Steelers just didn't really have a high level of interest in Tyler Boyd, especially after the 2024 NFL Draft when they took Roman Wilson to be their next slot wide receiver. And if you look at what Tyler Boyd has done throughout his career, he's pretty much a slot wide receiver that doesn't really go outside. He can go out there, but he's not nearly as successful. He's more of a true slot, and that's what I think the Steelers are trying to do with Roman Wilson, even though Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, has said before that they view Roman as somebody that can play both on the outside and on the inside in the slot. But, you know, the fact that Boyd was able to go to a team like the Titans and for that price tag of $4.5 million lets me know that the Steelers just didn't really see Tyler Boyd as a good fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they might have another plan in mind here, and that's at least what I'm hoping for here if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers and I'm a fan of this football team. Because, listen, man, you look at the room right now, and yes, I love George Pickens as your number one option, okay? I think he's going to explode this year and become a true superstar. And I love Roman Wilson for what he is as well, as a true slot receiver. Maybe put him outside for a little bit to see what he can do out there. And, you know, I do think that he's capable of living up to that number 2 wide receiver role if asked to do that. But right now, your number 3 receiver is Van Jefferson, who has less than 30 catches in the last 2 years, okay? He's more of a run-blocking type. You know, he is a little bit of a deep threat. You know, he can be a little bit of a deep threat here for this team. But it just seems like there's a glaring need here at wide receiver where the Steelers really feel like they need to add another big-name wide receiver to this room to give Russell Wilson the proper tools that he needs to have success in the passing game here in 2024. So let me know down there in the comment section and predict it for me. Will the Pittsburgh Steelers trade for or sign for a big-name wide receiver this offseason? Give me a yes or give me a no for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by giving me a yes or no to answer today's pinned question. So now going over the Steelers' options, both on the free agency market and on the trade market here. Free agency, it's really getting dry, man. Tyler Boyd, you can make an argument, was the best available wide receiver on the market. And right now, I've talked about Michael Thomas as a potential fit. He's big, good run blocker, good route runner, strong hands. He's a red zone threat, but he comes with a lot of baggage in terms of his injury history, and he's over 30 years old now. And then Zay Jones, you know, he kind of fits the mold of what you want. He's bigger, you know, he's a decent run blocker, but he's just overall unremarkable talent, and I'm not sure if I would be on board with getting a guy as unremarkable in terms of his skill set as Zay Jones. And when it comes to the trade market, we've heard a bunch of rumors surrounding a ton of these wide receivers that you hear or that you see here on your screen. DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton, the newest one here, Darius Slayton, who has not been taking part of the voluntary workout program there with the New York Giants. And then, of course, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, who we have covered extensively on the show. But you look at this list here, man, and every single one of these potential trade targets, I'm just not sure if there's a great pathway to get any of them. DK Metcalf, the Seattle Seahawks are trying to win now. Metcalf is arguably their number one receiver, and he's still only 26 years old. Yes, they're pressed up against the cap, but are they really looking to trade away their number one wide receiver in a very crucial year for Geno Smith? I'm not too sure. Then San Francisco has said, we're not trading either Ayuk or Deebo. They tried potentially moving one of them before or during the draft, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen now. Apparently, the Denver Broncos shut down the Pittsburgh Steelers when they called to ask about Cortland Sutton, and then Darius Slayton has said himself that he expects to get an extension done with the New York Giants. So I'm just not sure if any of these top wide receiver targets are going to be feasible for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I certainly hope that Omar can figure something out to get one of these guys in the building. But honestly, guys, I think the name to watch here is actually Treylon Burks, who has moved down the Titans depth chart here, or the wide receiver depth chart, because of this signing from Tyler Boyd. And it looks like Burks is definitely falling down the depth chart there in Tennessee, which could mean that he could be a very easy to get and pretty cheap get on the trade market for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that he's a good fit in terms of his skill set. He's kind of that bigger guy, good run blocker. You know, he's good contested catch winner too. So he's somebody that's younger. He's 24 years old. He might cost like a 6th or a 7th round pick, so it'd be super cheap to get. He's still on his rookie deal, so you'd be paying him nothing. And he does fit that typical Arthur Smith type mold. So definitely keep your eye out for Treylon Burks if Omar Khan is unable to land one of these big names like DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, or Cortland Sutton. Now, I definitely think time is running out for Omar. And listen, I'm not somebody that likes to doubt Omar Khan or like to criticize him, because he's never really let me down, right? Every time that I've doubted him, he's come out and he's made a big move, and he's made up for any mistake that he's made, and he hasn't made a lot of mistakes, right? He does the right thing almost every single time. But at this point, man, after trading away Deontay Johnson, it seemed like their plan was to go out and sign Mike Williams, and he signed with the New York Jets before he even had the chance to meet with him. So it just seems like that move and that kind of situation has kind of derailed the whole wide receiver position and their plan for this position group in 2024. And I'm just hoping Omar Khan is able to find something and figure something out here for this football team, because options are getting thin and time is running out. Now, coming up here on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be talking about Xavien Howard, the former All-Pro corner that a Bleacher Report analyst says that the Steelers should go get him. I'm going to react to that here in just a second. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. And a big shout out to Mando for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. You can get $5 off a starter pack today when you use code CHAT at shopmando.com. Ditch the soap and step up to the plate with Mando Whole Body Deodorant today. It's developed by a doctor, so this game-changing formula is safe for your entire body and knocks out odor like a champ. Mando is made with mandelic acid, which picks off odor at the source, keeping you fresh for up to 72 hours. Mando is available in solid sticks, invisible cream, body wash, cleaning bars, and deodorant wipes for on-the-go use. So no matter how you want to deodorize yourself, Mando has got you covered. Don't let foul balls ruin your game. Switch to Mando and keep your body odor in fair territory by taking advantage of their special offer for new customers of $5 off their best-selling starter pack when you go to shopmando.com and use code CHAT. Guys, I really do recommend their body wash. It's bourbon leather scented. It's absolutely fantastic. It smells great. I use it in the shower every single day. I actually have a whole bottle of this. They gave me just a little sample bottle like this before, and I loved it so much I just had to go onto the Mando website and get myself a whole bottle because it's fantastic. It smells masculine. It smells sweet. It smells awesome. So I absolutely love it, and it keeps me smelling fresh for up to 72 hours. Mando starter pack is perfect for new customers because it comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash we talked about, or I'd also recommend their deodorant wipes, which have great reviews as well. Plus, you get free shipping, so there's no reason not to try it out. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market today. New customers get $5 off a starter pack when you use our exclusive code CHAT. And guys, that equates to over 40% off your starter pack. So you're getting a great deal here. Again, use code CHAT at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. A big thank you to Mando Whole Body Deodorant for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So now let's shift to Xavien Howard here, because this is definitely an interesting name to me. We've talked about Stephon Gilmore quite a bit on the show, and you guys know how much of a fan I am of Stephon Gilmore and how much I would love the Steelers to sign him. But Kristopher Knox from Bleacher Report had this to say about potentially landing the former Dolphin corner. While the Steelers added several starting caliber players in the draft, they didn't add a replacement for departed cornerback Patrick Peterson. Pittsburgh did trade for Dante Jackson earlier in the offseason, but it could use more depth at the position. 4-time Pro Bowler Xavien Howard remains available and would be a strong fit for the Steelers. He dealt with a foot injury in 2023 and was released by the Miami Dolphins in a cap-saving move. However, he appears to be healthy now. While Howard wasn't 100% healthy last year, he still started 13 games and allowed an opposing passer rating of only 81.3 in coverage. A return to Pro Bowl form is entirely possible for the 30-year-old, who could give Pittsburgh another strong option alongside Jackson and Joey Porter Jr. And guys, honestly, when I think about Xavien Howard coming to the Pittsburgh Steelers, I wouldn't hate it whatsoever. Like Kristopher says in his article, this is somebody that was just very recently a Pro Bowler with the Miami Dolphins. He was playing injured last year, and even despite that, he was, still a starting capable player, even with that foot injury. When he is healthy, he is absolutely a high-end starter in the National Football League. And if the Steelers are maybe looking to move Dante Jackson into the slot or something like that, they want to get somebody on the outside, I wouldn't mind Xavien Howard whatsoever, but I would still prefer Stephon Gilmore. I've seen Gilmore play at a higher level more recently. He doesn't have the same level of injury concern at this point in his career, and I do think that Gilmore is the better overall player at this point in their respective careers. But if the Steelers ended up getting Xavien Howard, I definitely wouldn't complain. So let me know down there in the comment section, when it comes to the cornerback position, which one would you rather sign in free agency? Would you like to get Stephon Gilmore, type SG? Would you rather go Xavien Howard, type XH? Would you like to get the slot corner, Cam Sutton, type CS? Or would you rather sign somebody else, type O? And then if you're going with somebody else, let me know which corner you would rather go sign down there in the comment section. So now let's talk about Dan Moore Jr. here, because, he's definitely one of the bigger losers of the 2024 NFL Draft on the Steelers roster, because you do take Troy Fautano. Second year in a row, the Steelers have taken an offensive tackle in round 1, and it just seems like Dan Moore Jr. is going to be phased out here at the very least here in Pittsburgh. So there is a trade rumor going around right now that he might be a nice fit with the Washington Commanders. Of course, the Commanders took Brandon Coleman out of TCU in the 3rd round this year, who they believe is their next left tackle. But, he's somebody that didn't have a great 2023 season, and they got a rookie quarterback that they got to protect. Dan Moore Jr. is somebody with experience. So this is the trade idea here, a conditional 6th-round pick in exchange for Dan Moore Jr. This is what Dallas Robinson from Pro Football Network, the person that came up with the idea, had to say about this trade scenario. Well, the Commanders will give the 67th overall pick, Brandon Coleman, a chance to start at left tackle. They may want to bring in more depth, especially with a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels under center. So before I give my answer here, I want to hear from you guys. Would you guys accept this trade for Dan Moore? A conditional 6th-round pick, which can be moved to a 7th-round pick if Dan doesn't play enough with the Washington Commanders. Let me know. Type A if you would accept it, or type D if you would decline it. For me personally, guys, I am declining this trade offer because, plain simply, when I'm looking at the value here of a conditional 6th-round pick that might end up being a 7th-round pick, I would rather, kind of have a really good swing tackle that if Fautano or Broderick Jones gets hurt, somebody that I know has played with this offensive line before, has chemistry with the guys in the building, that I can plug in right away and not really skip a beat. I'd rather have that on my team as opposed to shipping away Dan Moore for a 6th or 7th round pick, it really isn't going to probably give you much value. I mean, at that point in the draft, you're probably just getting a lottery ticket that you're kind of hoping pans out to be a decent starter. You're really not going to get big-time players. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, they got Antonio Brown that late. Well, guess what? You're not going to get Antonio Browns every single year late on day 3, okay? So just playing the odds here, I would rather keep Dan Moore Jr. on the final year of his contract here, have him play it out as a really good swing tackle and kind of a little bit of a mentor for kind of the younger guys here, even though he's pretty young himself. And I'd rather have him as a nice depth piece in case there's injury, because with this Steelers offense, as we know, it's only going to go as far as the offensive line takes us, and if there's injuries, you want capable players in there. So Dan Moore Jr. is that, and I think that he's going to be the most valuable for the Steelers as a backup here in 2024. Now, let me know, or not let me know, go ahead and give me a follow on social media if you haven't already, at Jack_Sperry on X. I post my Steelers content on there every single day, channel updates, all that great stuff. So if you want some additional Steelers content from me every single day, you can get it at Jack_Sperry on X. Or if you want more NFL content from me on IG, you can find me at sparedog.football. Really do appreciate all of your support, guys. That's going to be it for today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors by Chat Sports. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now, because we got a bunch of great Steelers content coming your way later this week, including the Steelers Talk Live show tomorrow starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.